Hello, friends, and welcome to Rise Up in Real Estate, where we are on a quest. We are looking for the extra in the ordinary. And I'm Tad Fulford, and I will be your host on this journey where we will take an honest look at what makes ordinary people extraordinary. Exactly how can we be extra in our personal and our professional lives? In this season of the Rise Up in Real Estate adventure, there will be a monthly rhythm, meaning each month we will have 4 unique episodes. In one episode, we'll tackle a pressing current real estate industry thought. In another, we will chat with a local difference maker in the real estate space. For our 3rd episode, we will host a respected national thought leader. And finally, we will have a 4th bonus and surprise episode. And in each episode, we will be digging into not only what those people think, but who those people are. Along the way, it's my hope that you'll laugh some, you'll be challenged some, you will get inspired some, and if we are lucky, maybe even figure out a way or two you can rise up in your own life and be the best human that you can be. So the challenge is, let's all rise up. Hello, Rise Up Nation. I'm so glad you're here with us today. I have an extremely special guest, like a really good friend. We have some things in common that I'm excited to talk about, but just a consummate professional, good human being. And I'm so excited to welcome Kristin Boullion. I'll get her to spell her name, so relax. Kristin is with us today. Kristin, I'm so glad you're here. We had fun chatting just a minute ago, but welcome to Rise Up.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so glad to have you. It's probably long overdue. I'm excited for the audience to hear a little bit about you. Why don't you start, just spell your last name, well, first and last name, in case somebody wants to find you on social media or something like that, just to get us started.
Sure. It's Kristin, Kristin, Boullion, B as in boy, Oullion.
Very cool. And that's for some reason on my phone, this has nothing to do with anything, but when I type your name in to send you a text or call you or whatever, it always puts all capital letters for your last name. I don't know why. Have you heard that before from anyone?
Mm-mm.
Interesting. Yeah. So is it spelled the same way as Bouillon Cube?
No, it's close. I think that we have one less I. I think that the cube has LL or BOUILLION maybe. I think we're like one letter off.
Okay.
But we're close enough that was actually my husband's nickname. Like all through school was the Cube because of that.
The Cube. Oh my gosh. What was your maiden name?
O'Neill.
O'Neill. That's right. That's spelled different, but that is my wife's mom's new married name. He's a chiropractor.
That's right. Yeah. O'Neill Chiropractic. Yeah.
There's a free commercial for Tim O'Neill. That's awesome. So I'm excited to have you here. Tell our audience, you're in real estate. And by the way, I should say on every episode, I always forget, we're in the coastal region of South Carolina. We actually have listeners that are in Germany. We have one in England. So just to let you know, we're in the U.S. We're on the east coast of the United States and South Carolina on the coast. So look us up on the map. Tell us what you're in real estate now, but tell me your story. Like, where are you from, first of all?
Yeah, so originally I'm from Durham, North Carolina, and then made my way to Myrtle Beach via Wilmington. I went to UNC-Wilmington for college and then actually moved to Myrtle Beach for a job right after college, but not in real estate. So when I graduated, I moved here for a job at the local Fox TV station. So I was there for almost 7 years. I started off in the engineering department in master control, and then I moved over to the production side, and I produced a TV show 5 nights a week for over 6 years. So
that's right. I had forgotten that. Now, did you ever have aspirations to be on TV?
No, I did not have the nerves for that. Yeah, not at all. I do not like to be on camera. I mean, I've just started doing videos for my real estate business, and it has taken me a long time to work up the courage to do that. But I used to have to fill in on occasion, and I'd have to take a beta blocker in order to get through it.
That's so funny because I wish our listeners could see you, right? Because we're doing this via Zoom and I've got you on the screen. You are so natural in front of the camera. I do this a lot. Like I do video all the time and I talk to people about video all the time. You are such a natural. I don't know why you don't have confidence in yourself, but you should.
Well, thank you. I think it's just, I feel like people judge me. So it's all that judgment puts a lot of pressure on me, I guess. I'm not sure, but
I hope you guys are hearing this. There should be no judgment for you. You're amazing. So you said a few things. I want to ask you, like, loaded. You were a Seahawk, isn't that? That's
right.
Wilmington's mascot, right?
It is.
Did you play sports in college?
I did not. So I played tennis and soccer basically my whole life growing up. And then I had a pretty rough knee injury at the end of my junior year in high school. I had plans to play soccer in college, not as a scholarship player, but as a walk-on. And then after that injury, my knee healed, but I think I always babied it a little bit. So my game was never quite the same after that.
Right. Are you still playing tennis now?
I am, not as much as I would like to. So I have 2 kids that take up a lot of that time that used to be spent on the tennis court. But yeah, I still get out there whenever I can.
You guys have to go find Kristin on social media. They have just a Hallmark postcard family. Like her husband and her 2 daughters, they're just so precious. Tell us about your family. Your husband.
Yeah, so my husband, Krist, we've been married since 2015, and we have 2 kids. We have both girls. We have a 5-year-old named Harper and a 3-year-old named Mabel. So Harper just started kindergarten this year. And we also have 2 dogs, Walker and Memphis. Both of them came from the North Myrtle Beach Humane Society, and they're, I guess, senior citizens now. Gosh, Walker is probably 11 years old and Memphis is 10. So
that's really cool. We've had a few guests on here that have promoted the Humane Society, so I'm proud for you to mention that again. Good for you for doing that. And, we have a lot of kids, my wife and I do, and we don't often envy names, but we're disappointed that we didn't pick Mabel. That is the sweetest name I've ever, and I love Harper too, but Mabel is very sweet. Is that a family name?
So funny enough, it is, but we didn't know it until we had already named her that.
Okay.
Apparently both my husband and I have a great Aunt Mabel on each side, but so you have a Hazel.
Yes.
I always loved that name. Actually, Harper would probably be Hazel if I didn't have a cousin 9 months older than me that beat me to the punch. She had twin girls that are a little bit older than my girls, and she named one of them Hazel. Otherwise, Harper would probably be a Hazel.
Oh, if you had Hazel and Mabel, that would be over for me. Like that's just so sweet. I love that. I can't wait to watch them grow up. Like, when does Mabel not fit a girl's, will Mabel be cool as a teenager? I think so. Will Hazel be cool, that name, as a teenager? I think so.
We just love the old Southern names. We're both from the South and so we like that.
Were you born in Durham?
I was. Yep.
So,
yep. We moved one time growing up, and it was literally within 1 mile of each other. So, yep. Duke Blue Devil fans through and through.
There we go. Now we've got the listeners listening in excited. They took it on the chin this week against the Tar Heels, though, in football. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So I never really watched that much. When I was growing up, Duke never really had much of a football team. Right. So now I'm married to a guy that is from Alabama. So when we're in football season, it's all about Alabama. And when we're in basketball season, it's all about Duke. And so
I gotcha. So where is Krist from in Alabama? I didn't know that because I'm from Alabama.
From right outside Montgomery.
Okay. I've got family in Montgomery. I was born in Dothan. Not that the listeners care. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but that's I was a huge Alabama fan growing up. I even went to practice when Bear Bryant coached when I was a kid, and it was a religion. I was shocked that they lost their first game in a long time this past weekend, actually, to Tennessee.
Yeah, it's so my husband was out of town until Saturday, and he got home, and I guess it was while the game, I didn't even know, but the game was going on, and he walked in, said hey to me, said hey to the kids straight in front of the TV, and just like was locked in. And then after the game, he's like, oh, hey, how have you guys been? Everybody's good? Okay, great. But
he's been out of town. He had to get his priorities in order, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a sore subject right now.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, we'll send you flowers for Krist loving football. That's a terrible time to come home from a trip. He should have known better. He should have stayed one more day. That would have probably helped his cause a little bit more. So Durham, North Carolina, and you moved here. You were on the working for a TV station. What made you decide real estate was a good idea? When was that, and what inspired you? Tell us that story.
So it was kind of just honestly luck,
Okay.
or having the right friends, I should say. So one of my very best friends actually was my mixed doubles tennis partner when I moved here, Kirk Nobles. He and his mom used to own the North Myrtle Beach Remax Southern Shores. I believe it had a different name at the time, but they had it with a few other people. And his mom, Tommy, was retiring, and Kirk and I were not only tennis partners, but we were also happy hour partners. And so we would go have drinks occasionally after work, and we would both vent about what we were doing. And about the time that I sort of transitioned to real estate, I had left the TV station to go to work at a digital marketing firm in Conway, South Carolina. And it just wasn't really where I wanted to be anymore. And he was just very overwhelmed because his mom was retiring. And they had sold the company. So there was just a huge transitional phase. I think he had also just lost an assistant. And so he was just really buried in work. And so he was like, look, you don't want to be doing what you're doing anymore. I need all the help I can get. Why don't you just leave and come help me while you're looking for another job? And so I was like, sounds good. So quit my job, came to help him, and I was helping him get organized. And he's like, look, why don't you just be why don't you go get your real estate license, and you can be my licensed assistant, and then you'll be able to do more stuff and I'll be able to pay you more. So I said, all right, well, sounds good. I'll do that. So I did it. And then, so actually, the Coastal Carolina Association of Realtors was looking for a marketing director. I applied for that job. They offered it to me. And then when I told Kirk that they had offered me the director of marketing position for the Association of Realtors, the local association here, he was like, well, why don't you just not take that and be my buyer's agent? We'll be like business partners. And so I was like, all right, well, if I'm ever going to really do real estate, this is the best opportunity I'm ever going to have to do it. So I did it, and that was pretty much it.
And what year was that when you started that conversation?
So 2014 is January 2014 is when I started working with Kirk as an unlicensed assistant.
Okay. So that is about 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I remember that like it was not that long ago. I remember you coming into the office, and Kirk Nobles, we shout out to Kirk because what a great mentor he was to you. I mean, there was a lot of times where I remember you guys talking and he was bringing you along. I mean, that was a really cool. And were all those decisions made at happy hour? You made it sound like
a lot of them. Yeah. I think he was just greasing the wheels a little bit, so, but no, I was very, very lucky. I mean, you only learn so much when you're in the real estate classes, but, I would certainly not be where I am now without having, him answer questions for me. And even just like sitting in the office with him and hearing how he conducted himself and conducted transactions and did troubleshooting and, all of those things. I mean, you just can't learn that from that class. It's just invaluable.
Yeah. One thing I love about Kirk is that he's the consummate giver. Like every time something comes across his desk that he feels like other people benefit from, he forwards it. He's always giving us, even as the owner of the company, he's always giving me the heads up about what's coming, what's going on in North Myrtle Beach. I can imagine being on his team. You learned a ton. It was like opening the fire hydrant. It was time to get to work. But really good for you. Like you must be a little bit of a risk taker to take that chance, because you had a pretty good, these are all salaried positions that you had offers for, right? But you went the commission route.
I was also very fortunate, and I am very fortunate that so I wasn't married at that time, but my husband and I were engaged, and he's just always been super supportive of anything that I've ever wanted to do. So I don't know that I ever would have taken that, complete leap if I didn't have his support, because it is scary to go from knowing every 2 weeks you're going to have this amount of money to might not get a paycheck this month or this year,
Yeah. But probably joining a team gave you a little bit of confidence that the business was going to be there and you were going to learn. But good for the Cube for supporting you in the way that
Yeah.
he did. I mean, I wish you guys could get to know Krist too. He's such a great, I just feel like he brings people together. Like every time I'm around him, I feel so important, so liked. And he doesn't really even know me that well, but he's always so positive, smiles almost all the time.
Oh, everybody just loves Chris. Everybody loves Chris. I mean, he's okay. I'll keep him, but yeah, no, he's a good guy.
Except for Kristin when the Alabama game's on the day after she just kept the kids. I hope he's hearing this loud and clear. After she kept the kids for a few days. Well, that's cool. So that was about 8 years ago. Now, we could talk about your journey. Wow, you've been through a little bit, right? I mean, the market was pretty good, and then we had COVID. But you've had some pretty good years, right? I mean, you and I were just talking. This year's been pretty good. Tell me about.
Yeah, so this has been my best year yet. I hit platinum, which was awesome. I'm going to be, I think, just shy of chairman's this year if everything I have on the books right now closes. But yeah, so it's been a really, really good year to me. But like I was telling you before, even it's kind of a crazy dichotomy real estate is, because you can have what's such, on paper, a great year, and then, have some things where, we're in the middle of this huge market shift and have a couple deals that you just take really personally that just have this shadow over your whole year and make you feel sort of defeated. And I've definitely had a couple of those this year.
Yeah, I appreciate you being transparent about that. The listeners probably, some of them don't know those two, the clubs that you mentioned. Platinum is, if you don't mind me sharing, do you mind me sharing the amount? Okay. So Platinum Club is gross commissions of $250,000, and in general, Chairman's is $500,000 gross commissions. So you've gone from like 0 8 years ago to here, and I appreciate your transparency because it is a real thing what you're feeling. I think sometimes the busyness of everything, and my impression of you is you're a perfectionist, like you like things excellent and perfect, and you probably are very discouraged because you just can't figure out how to help this one person, right? You're doing everything you've ever known how to do, and you're just struggling with it. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yep.
And you've got a person that's counting on you. And I mean, I don't know how many transactions you've done, but you've helped a lot of families achieve their dreams this year. And yet that one is just sticking in you. And my inclination is that quality about you is what makes you so great, that you care that much. Like I've seen what you've done we're talking about one specific listing that she has. It'll probably be sold by the time this is aired, but I've seen the things that you've done. You've gone way above and beyond, and it just racks your brain, doesn't it? Why in the world?
Absolutely. Yep.
But I'm proud of you. What would you say has brought you from when you started with Kirk 8 years ago? And I know there's not one thing, but if you had to pinpoint one thing that you would say brought you to the success that you've had, what would it be?
Well, so Kirk, there was one thing that he used to always say in the office that really seems so simple, but is actually, it's really stuck with me. So it's like spaghetti. Keep throwing the spaghetti against the wall. Some of it's going to eventually stick. So if you keep doing the right things, your hard work is going to pay off. Now, what are the right things? I think trying to figure that out is also another sort of aspect of my business that has allowed me to continue to grow. And that's because I think every year I try to add at least one, if not a couple things to my business. And that's, if it's a new thing I'm doing for all my listings, one new thing I'm doing for all my closings, or one new thing I'm doing to prospect. I'm always trying to do a little bit more, a little bit better than I did previously. And so I think, that quest for always trying to figure out what all of the right things are maybe is what it is.
Yeah. And where do you learn? Like, where are you learning these new things? I don't know that about you. Do you read a lot? Or are you watching YouTube videos? How do you learn the new things?
So I think I sort of have absorbed things throughout my different careers. So, obviously, I learned a lot in the TV industry about marketing and just technology and how to, I wouldn't say that I'm an expert on any of those things, but I pulled just enough out of that industry to be able to apply it to my business and enhance it just a little bit. Same thing with the digital marketing. I certainly would not consider myself a professional digital marketer, but I think I pulled enough out of my time there to apply it to my real estate business to where, I don't have to do every single thing. I'm not going to, do every single thing that a full-blown digital marketing firm was going to do. But I pulled just a few things that I know that I can stick with, that are doable for me and that I can be consistent with. And I think, the things that I'm choosing are, hard for me at first. I think more of just, getting all of the right pieces of equipment in place, getting my nerves in place, those kind of things. But they're things that I know that are achievable for me. They're not these huge undertakings that I'm going to do a couple of times and then just fall off.
Man, you said so many things just now that are so valuable for our listeners. I think, first of all, I want to say you guys need to find her on social media. I'll say this, I'll be the first to say, I see a lot of photography, a lot of agent photography. Yours is the best I've seen. Like your lifestyle shots when you do in your listings, and some of the business card things that you've done, like when you promote things, is part of the best that I've seen. And I want you guys to listen to hearing what she's saying. She got into real estate, but she didn't abandon her past knowledge. Like, I meet teachers that get into real estate that have a lot of things that they were good at in teaching that translate right into real estate. You've done a great job of remembering who you were and bringing it over into real estate. I think I meet a lot of servers, like restaurant people that are in business, and if they forget all of that, they shouldn't be. They can bring that, they can translate that over. And I love basically what you said about the spaghetti is a great thing. That might be the name of this episode. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that's the compound effect, right? You just do enough of the right things over and over and over that the results come. Right now, you got this listing and you're focused more than you should be on the result. If you focused on how great you've done with the tasks that you've done each time, the result will come. But I know you work out a lot, like you're in the gym a lot, right? So you do that in the gym too. I mean, it's just you don't see results the first minute you're in there. Right.
Right. And so that's why I think for me, it's important it is really important to remember that. And especially with, trying to grow your business. Like if you want to get into social media or you want to get into video, it's not like you're going to put up one video and have this huge rush of business that's going to come off that one video or that one social media post. I mean, it takes years potentially for that stuff to turn around, and you just can't get discouraged by the lack of instant gratification, because it's just not the reality.
Yeah. And it's counterintuitive, because social media is all about instant gratification. That's the reason it's a thing, I think, is people get on there and they look at they compare themselves to the Smiths and the Joneses, and in this business that can sink you very quick. So good tip for us to all focus on the process. I did a video on that not too long ago. We focus too much on the result and not enough on the process, I think. So good one. And I think it's interesting that you said too, this is huge, I think. Commit to things that you know that you can do, right? And that are repeatable. And I think I meet people that say, I'm going to start doing video. I'm going to do one every day. I'm like, well, you're going to do it for about 4 days and then you're going to be done. So commit to something that's doable. Have a mentor that tells you, hey, this is doable, and then commit to that. I love that about you. And I just told her before we got on the episode, like she's the silent assassin in the real estate business. Like I don't ever hear from Kristin. You would not believe, looking at her, talking to her, knowing her, that the level of success that you have. And I say that with the utmost respect. Like you're humble, you work hard, you're in there for your people. And I love that about you. It's just really cool, really a cool story. So I'm glad you're sharing part of it with us. You mentioned your beautiful family, which you guys live pretty close to the ocean. Do you worry? What about storms? You guys worry about storms? What is it like? We're in the coastal region of South Carolina. Tell me.
Yeah, we love it until hurricane season comes. And then, my nerves, especially with the kids and the dogs, your nerves get a little bit shot. But I just decided, because my biggest fear is to get stuck in any kind of evacuation traffic with toddlers and dogs that have to, have CBD treats just to go like 30 minutes down the road. So that's my biggest fear, is to get stuck in evacuation traffic. So if I feel like there's any chance of anything coming, I pack up the kids and the dogs and we head to my parents' house, typically in North Carolina, or head to the mountains. My husband usually has to stay because he has to work, or he has to be able to get back to work easily. But we just try to make it, a vacation, and try to make it as the least stress as possible. And then just realize that, as long as our family is safe, all of the stuff is replaceable. And that's why you have insurance.
Yes. Thank you. There'll be a commercial in this episode for We Insure. That was a nice segue for the editors. If they want to put it right now, it'd be a great time to put it in. If you live or own property along the coast of South Carolina, you probably need insurance. We Insure Advocates is a locally owned independent agency with industry-leading service support. Our team of customer-centric agents can explain your coverage options and help you craft an insurance program that fits your needs and budget. Data-driven for better value, people-led for better service. That's the difference of we. For all of your property insurance needs, please find us at weinsureadvocates.com or call us at 843-491-6990. That's awesome. I want you guys to listen to the fact that she did not mention fear of wind or rain or water during the hurricane. She doesn't want to get stuck in the traffic with a dog that needs a CBD. That's awesome. It's real. It's so real. That is so real. All right, a few more questions before we wrap up. I love what we've talked about so far. This is an uncomfortable question for most people to answer because most people don't. Well, some people like to talk about themselves, like me. I talk too much, but you probably don't love talking about yourself, but tell me what you think your superpower is if you had to have one. Like if there's only one thing that Kristin's going to do for this world or for someone, what's it going to be and how do you do it?
Oh my gosh. I don't know about a superpower for the world. I think, I don't know. I think I'm just like, maybe my superpower is this, that I'm just a really, really loyal person. I'm really loyal to my clients. I'm really loyal to my family, to my husband. And I think that keeping that sort of stuff front and center is really, really important. If you focus on the numbers, if you focus on that stuff, you're always going to be chasing something else, your priorities. You're not going to be in it for the right reason. But I think, keeping that stuff priority, anyway, for me, it's worked out.
Yeah. I mean, listen, loyalty, what do you have if you don't have loyalty? Right. And I think
hard to find this day and age, but I think too, I mean, as far as, I feel like I've been pretty loyal to Remax Southern Shores as well. And they've been really great to me. I mean, here I am on this podcast, I've gotten so much help from all of the staff there. And so, I mean, I think it's important and it goes both ways for sure.
Yeah. And listen, we as owners, we don't take that lightly because not everyone has that quality. So I think that is definitely a superpower. Thank you for being that person and for sharing that. That's really cool. Two questions I always like to end with. Maybe you have this, maybe some people don't read. Like I don't really read. I'm in my car so much. I listen to podcasts. Somebody had a great recommendation of a podcast a few days ago. And I also love Audible. So those things are in play also. But what is a book that's meant something to you? It doesn't have to be, and I'll put it in the show notes. Doesn't have to be business related, just anything. You got one for us?
Gosh. Business related, and I'm sure this is one that you guys have talked about on other podcasts because I believe that I heard about the book through you guys, but Atomic Habits, it's one of those books that's like everything that they say in there is not like earth shattering. They're not telling you anything it's stuff that but hearing it, like doing again, small things that are easy. If you want to make a big change, do small things that are easy for you to grow. Again, don't bite off more that you can chew, do these really small things and they'll turn into big things. So I listen to Audible. I can't claim that I'm a big reader. I'm a big listener.
Me too. We have that in common. Good.
And then I usually when I'm in the car driving to different places, I have Audible on. Anyway, I recently finished The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I liked that book. It's entertaining, but it also is just like it's about this very upper echelon lady, but just a reminder, I guess, that everybody from every demographic is human, but in a very entertaining way of stating that.
Yeah, I had not heard who wrote that. Do you know the author?
I think, yeah, Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's really good.
That's really cool. I love that. And that's not real estate related. Is that fiction?
It's fiction. Yeah. It's very entertaining. But yeah, it's definitely had me in tears at the end of it, but
I love that. That's really cool. I wonder if she has issues with loyalty, 7 husbands. Maybe not. Maybe that her religion allowed that. I'm not sure, but I think it's interesting.
Yeah, she does actually. It's interesting. Yeah. It's probably not what you would think it is with that title.
No, I cannot wait. I'm going to listen to it because I'm in my car all the time. So, and listeners, if you have not read Atomic Habits yet or listened to it, you've heard about it on this show. Like, almost every guest mentions it. I'm not sure why, but a few have, and it's by James Clear. You should download that and dive in because that does, again, focus on the process, not the results. Atomic Habits, great recommendation. Last thing, and I know you have probably a few of these, but I want you to tell us at least one. What is it? I like to ask everybody because the title of our podcast is Rise Up. What do you do on a daily basis to kind of rise up above the mediocrity of the world, the mundane, the feelings that you might have, the challenges that you're going through? What are the things that you do on a regular basis, maybe that can help someone?
Well, one of them definitely for me is going to the gym. It's a chance for me to step away from my phone, from my computer, from all the noise, and I can really think things through. And honestly, as a mom of young children, somebody that works full time, you want to be all things to all people. But I feel like that 1 hour a day in the gym for me it's the 1 hour of the day that I'm the only one that wants something out of me. So, I can sit there and think about other stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm the one I'm the one asking myself for something during that hour.
That's really a cool perspective. How often do you go to the gym? Now, listen, listeners, this is a pretty successful entrepreneur. She has a pretty successful husband. She's got 2 little girls. You heard it, right? A lot of responsibilities. She hasn't talked about her dogs. One of her dogs takes a tremendous amount of care. But what is it? I mean, do you go every day? How do you do this?
I try to. I'm not right now. I actually have a stress fracture in one of my feet. So, but I try to go every day. At least 4 days a week.
You want to plug a gym? Any gym that you like?
I like Orange Theory. It's I'm a really if you really know me, you know that I'm a very competitive person. It might be quietly, but I'm very competitive. And their whole system is just set up for you to be really, competitive with other people, but also competitive with yourself. It's very much reliant on a lot of statistics and numbers and stuff like that. And so it's set up perfectly for my personality.
Yeah, I love that. You said so many valuable things today. Like that last thing you just said about and this is I need to learn this from you because when I'm exercising, I should think of it. It's the only time that I'm actually only expecting something. I'm the only one expecting something from me right then. Because in the rest of your world, you have every other moment is even at night when you're sleeping, there are people depending on you. There are people picking away at you and wanting things and needing things. And that's the only time you're meeting your own expectations. I love that. That's a great way to look at that time that you use to rise up. You have been fun to talk to. It's been 30 minutes. I can't believe it's been 30 minutes. I say that almost every episode, but there's so much more here we could dig into. Why don't you tell us, how can we find you? Like if somebody wants to find you on social media or out there somewhere, how can they reach out? They might want to talk about Duke. They might want to talk about spaghetti. They might want to talk about hurricane evacuation routes, whatever. How can they find you?
Yeah. So the easiest place to do that is going to be on Linktree. And it's just, you go on there and look up Kristin Boullion, just how I spelled it at the beginning. And there you can find any of my contact information, any of my websites that you want. It's all linked there. So
that's a really cool tool, Linktree. I just learned about that not too long ago, but that has that's exactly what it says. It's the tree of all your links.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right? It has my Facebook, my Instagram, my YouTube, my Twitter, my LinkedIn, everything.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. You have been so much fun to talk to. I wish you that listing be sold as this episode before this episode airs, and much, much prosperity and happiness to you and your family. You've been great to talk to.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, hey, that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for listening to Rise Up in Real Estate. If you liked hanging out with us today, please find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Rise Up in Real Estate. Also, follow us right now on your favorite podcast host to hear more episodes. We really appreciate you spending some of your time with us. And until next time, let's do each other a favor and all help each other rise up.